It is a claim repeated in mosques and study circles around the world. The Bible has been changed. This concept, known as Tahrif, suggests that the original message of Jesus was lost, altered, or corrupted by later hands. But if the Bible is corrupted, when exactly did it happen? Who did it? And most importantly, what does the physical evidence of the ancient manuscripts actually show? Today, we are moving past hearsay and looking at the cold, hard data of history. Welcome back to Kingdom Apologist. One of the most significant hurdles in the dialogue between Christianity and Islam is the integrity of the Holy Scriptures. While the Quran speaks of the Torah and the Gospel as light and guidance, many modern Islamic scholars argue that the texts we hold today are not those original revelations.
In this video, we aren't just going to give you opinions. We are going into the world of textual criticism. We will examine the thousands of Greek manuscripts, the revolutionary discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls, and the science of how we reconstruct the original words of the Bible. By the end of this video, you will see why the Bible is the most well-attested book in all of ancient history. To solve a crime, you need a timeline. The accusation of Tahrif usually comes in two forms: Tahrif imani, corruption of meaning, and Tahrif lafzi, corruption of the actual text. The early Islamic commentators, like Ibn Abbas, often argued that the text was intact, but its interpretation was wrong. However, as the theological divide grew, the claim shifted. The physical text itself must have been changed, but this creates a massive historical problem. By the time of Prophet Muhammad in the 7th century, the Bible had already been translated into Latin, Syriac, Coptic, and Gothic. It was spread across 3 continents, from the mountains of Ethiopia to the cities of Europe and the deserts of Arabia.
To corrupt the Bible, someone would have had to travel to every church in the known world, steal every copy in every language, change them all identically, and return them without anyone noticing. As we will see, the sheer volume of manuscripts makes global corruption a mathematical impossibility. Let's talk numbers. When historians look at ancient literature, they look at 2 things: how many copies we have and how close those copies are to the original events. For Homer's Iliad, we have about 1,800 copies. For the works of Tacitus or Pliny, we might have dozens. But for the New Testament, we have over 5,800 Greek manuscripts. If you add in Latin, Syriac, and Coptic translations, that number jumps to over 25,000. Why does this matter? Imagine you have a puzzle with 1,000 pieces. If you lose 5 pieces, you can still see the whole picture. With the New Testament, we don't just have one puzzle. We have 25,000 copies of the same puzzle. Even if one scribe made a mistake in one copy, we can compare it to the other 24,999 to see exactly where the error occurred. This embarrassment of riches allows scholars to reconstruct the original text with 99.5% accuracy. For a long time, critics argued that the Old Testament had been changed over the centuries. Our oldest complete Hebrew manuscript was the Leningrad Codex, dating to 1008 AD. Skeptics asked, how do we know the text didn't change between the time of the prophets and 1000 AD? Then, in 1947, a shepherd boy found the Dead Sea Scrolls. These manuscripts dated back to 250 BC, over 1,000 years older than our previous oldest copy. When scholars compared the Great Isaiah Scroll from the Dead Sea to the Bible we had in the 1940s, the results were staggering. Despite 1,000 years of copying by hand, the text was identical in over 95% of the content. The only differences were minor spelling variations and grammar, none of which changed a single doctrine. This discovery silenced the idea that the Jewish scribes had corrupted the Torah.
Now, critics will often point out that there are hundreds of thousands of variants in the New Testament manuscripts. This sounds scary until you understand what a variant is. If one manuscript spells the name John with 2 N's and another spells it with 1, that is counted as a variant. If the word order is Jesus Christ in one and Christ Jesus in another, that is a variant. Does this mean the Bible is corrupted? No.
In fact, 99% of these variants are completely insignificant. Of the remaining 1%, most are easily solved by looking at the oldest manuscripts, like Codex Sinaiticus. Not a single core Christian doctrine, the deity of Christ, the resurrection, or the way of salvation, depends on a disputed verse. The message remains unshaken, preserved through a massive, decentralized network of witnesses that no single person or group could ever control. Some ask, but where is the very first piece of paper Paul or John wrote on? We don't have the original papyri. They were organic material that rotted away 2,000 years ago, but we don't need them.
Because we have so many early copies, some like P52 dating within decades of the original, we can triangulate the original text with more certainty than any other book from the ancient world. If we reject the Bible because we don't have the originals, we would have to throw away every single history book about Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar, and even the early history of Islam. The standard of evidence for the Bible is simply higher than for any other text. The evidence is clear. The Bible has been preserved with unparalleled accuracy. The claim of Tahrif fails when it meets the library of history. If this deep dive strengthened your faith or gave you new insights, please like this video and subscribe to Kingdom Apologist. I want to know your thoughts. Which manuscript discovery do you find most amazing? Let's talk about it in the comments below. And if you have a specific verse you've been told is corrupted, post it and let's look at the textual evidence together. Thank you for watching and stay rooted in the truth.